You know that feeling when someone finally says the quiet part out loud? That's what She Impacts Digital is. I interview women founders and marketers about building their digital world on their own terms, and we go beyond strategy. We talk about nervous system regulation, real founder stories, and we close every episode with one tip you can actually do. No massive overhaul, no guilt, just smart, simple moves that fit into your real life as a mom and a builder. Hi, I'm your host, Stephanie, and each episode we break down the real strategies behind visibility, growth, and scaling, paired with the deeper work that actually makes those strategies sustainable. I'm excited for you to be here. Hello, everyone. Today, I'm joined by Heidi Henneman, a founder, consultant, and leader who builds ventures at the intersection of business growth, social impact, and well-being. Having worked for brands like Estee Lauder and Drunk Elephant, Heidi brings a deep understanding of what actually drives customer loyalty, from brand voice and positioning to the subtle experience details that make people stay, return, and advocate for your brand. Her perspective challenges the traditional focus on constant acquisition and instead highlights one of the most powerful and often overlooked growth levers, retention. Heidi, I'm so excited to have you here. I would love for you to just share a little bit about where you came from and where you're at in business now, because being for women and moms in business, I think it is great to hear how things unfold, because we've talked about this and we don't always know how it's going to unfold. And yet it always works out for us in some way.
I love that. Wow. Yeah. So I'm a single mom. I've got a 7-year-old son. The most important thing in my life. So all the business aside, all the everything aside, he's the focal point. So everything I do hopefully is going to, set a good example for him. And goodness, where I've come from. I started my career in magazines and in New York and writing and producing photo shoots, and then somehow stumbled into the Estee Lauder Corporation to produce some ad campaigns. And a 3-month contract led to like 15 years there, with starting with Prescriptives and Joe Malone and La Mer and Kate Spade Beauty, like very small brands that had just come aboard to Estee, and then moving on to MAC. And then I was there for, the golden years of MAC. We call them the OG years. And it was just an absolutely wonderful ride. And then I moved on to Joe Malone London once it kind of grew a little bit, and really took the helm on building the creative studio and doing creative operations there. And kept coming back. Every time I would try to leave, I was just coming back. So over 15 years, I stayed with Estee, almost 17 actually. And then it was time to have my son. So that was almost 8 years ago. They wanted to move me to London and I wanted to have a child. So I chose that opportunity and ended up moving to Texas, where I have had some family. I went to college at UT Austin and went to Houston for, again, a 3-month maternity leave cover for Drunk Elephant. And I was there for 7 years, as you do, just continue along what works. And then I departed with them last July, and through a series of very fortunate events, met some beautiful women doing incredible work in various businesses, one being retention growth. And my business partner now, on one of the endeavors I'm working at with, she and I have created an agentic AI company, which I know that term is a little foreign to many. But basically what we are doing is building a system that makes it really easy and really profitable for brands to retain the customers they have. So instead of continuing to what we call get customers at acquisition and top of funnel, we've flipped that, and it's now a flywheel. So once you get a customer in your flywheel, you just handhold them through everything that they can do as a customer, whether that's coming back for loyalty or getting the best promotions or being on a VIP list or wanting to hear about education. It's really helping understand where the customer is on their journey so you can meet them there, and doing it with a system that is automated. And that's based on 10 years of history with my business partner. She's been doing this manually for 10 years with hundreds of brands, which is a lot of data. And we're working with the top minds from Oxford and Cambridge to do that. And we're very close to launching that. So it's very exciting. And that's just one of the endeavors I've been, working on. So again, I met her through some conferences and in a cold plunge bath where we bonded over having children. We were both in this, cold plunge baths. I don't know if y'all have done these before.
Hmm. Yeah.
They're a little intense and a little, painful. And she was so calm. And I said, "How are you remaining so calm?" And she said, "I've had 3 kids. This is fine." I was like, "We're going to be good friends." And then 2 years later, here we are, business partners, doing some really fun work.
That's so
Additionally,
amazing.
thank you. It's so funny. Yeah, and as I said, just great opportunities to meet, wonderful women. And I will say I mostly work with women just because I feel comfortable and confident, and I feel like women are so good to support each other and accolades and really bringing each other up as necessary. I'm also working as a consultant to help smaller brands come to market. So I've got a few clients there where I'm just helping them with, how do you bring a brand to market, especially a beauty brand? What does it mean? Where do you go? What do you need to do that? So I'm working with several brands on that aspect. And then because I have so much free time, I also have a nonprofit. So
Yep.
I've been working with a company that I established in 2010 in 2010 called A Run to Giving, and we build schools in developing countries. And that came from a volunteer vacation I went on in 2007. Fell in love with some kids in a school in Tanzania, and I felt like I needed to help them. And that has now expanded to Cameroon and now India. We're doing a big project in India this fall. So again, taking it back to, the type of woman and mom I want to be. I want to be the strong mom who can do it all. Not that I think I can do it all, but I want to, show my son, what it looks like to be a strong woman and someone in business who has aspirations and passions that, I want to fulfill. So all of
I
that,
love it.
brings me to here where we are today and talking to you, where I'm so excited to share.
I love that we're starting with these pieces because I also think as we're talking about being in business, there is such a critical point, and I've heard it so many times recently, of putting money in women's hands to be able to make these differences because we do think differently, we operate differently. And yes, they all seem like spread out, but they're all very interwoven because they're all under the same umbrella, which is your beliefs and your purposes. So it's amazing. It's really cool. And that leads me into like, I guess the beginning of this conversation. And as you work with founders already and you know this, you probably see it, but everyone gets so hyper focused on getting more eyes on their business and not really thinking about like what is actually working for those customers that are there. How do you get them to stay? How communicating, like we're talking about your story, those stories matter in this, and really like giving an opportunity for seeing it differently so that instead of looking for more, it's like, well, what do we already have? And that starts with gratitude too, obviously. Like when we feel grateful for what we have already, it creates space for us to be able to hold more. And I feel having come from ecom and having come from my own skincare business, it is such a crucial piece to making it work. Like speaking to those customers that are still brands closed. They're still loyal to my brand now. And I didn't even think that far ahead prior. So I'd love for you to touch on that and like share your experience and what you've seen and learned.
Well, I think it's such a good point, and I think we're all sad that your skincare brand has closed because you do have such a following, and so many loyal customers are like, "Wait, where did you go? Come back!" And I think that's such a testament to what you built. And it just leads me to the point of authenticity. A brand, once so many brands start, and there's a small barrier to entry right now with a lot of creator brands. Anybody can kind of start a business and go for it. But when you have a brand that has a good product, that has a good story, and a founder who is authentic and real, and not just a vision of on Instagram, you create loyalty, you create a community. And so many brands go fast, fast, fast. I just need to get more sales, more eyes, more likes, more shares, whatever the algorithm does to beat the algorithm. So what happens though when you get those customers in? So let's say I purchased a product and then I hear nothing from the brand. So I purchase a product that's usually between $50 and $100, sometimes more. That's not a small chunk of change. I'm investing in something I'm seeing, or a formula, or something I think is important. And then I'm left, okay, thank you for your order. Peace out. That's it for a lot of brands. And that, again, to your point, Stephanie, is they're not, you don't feel the gratefulness. You don't feel the community. There's not that continued conversation. So one thing that we really work on with the company I'm working on with Retention First Growth is our name of our company. And the tool we're building is called Growa. It's actually a female name from Iceland, like a goddess of agriculture and growth. We thought that really aligned with our mission, and our other founder, Emma's lineage is from Iceland, so we felt there was alignment there. But just going back to what the idea is to continue to have a conversation. Gratitude, education. Okay, so let's say I bought a product. I don't know what to do with it. I've got it. It's not working in the first week. Okay, well, maybe it's not meant to work in the first week, but I don't know that. I've seen on Instagram instant results. So it's a conversation, and it's an email that says, hey, thanks for your purchase. We're going to walk you through for the next 4 weeks what you should be seeing. And then you get an email 2 weeks in saying, hey, this is what you should be seeing. If you're not, let us know. Conversation with the community that keeps building the trust. So that's the other piece of it. So gratitude, community, trust. And as you build that as a brand, you're going to see continual purchasing. So if I trust a brand, and I can specifically talk to a brand that I am in absolute love with called Beekman 1802, someone on Instagram who I trust, two actually in the same day when I was on Instagram. Maybe it was just the algorithm feeding me that day, but two people that I actually personally know who are influencers recommended it. And I was like, well, if they think it's good, I'm going to try it. I tried it. I was like, this is great. I'm going to buy everything. And so Beekman reached out to me and said, thank you so much. Here's a code for a next order. Okay, great. So they kept the conversation going and continue to keep that conversation going. And I buy them all the time. Everyone at Christmas got Beekman 1802. That's the community they built, the conversation they built, and then the customer lifetime value that they built. So that's something that, a lot of brands are looking for. What is their CAC, customer acquisition cost? They're looking at that and saying, okay, this is how much it's going to be. But your customer acquisition cost today is more than your customer purchase rate. So let's say it costs $1.30 to get a customer. You're only getting $1 from that first purchase. So it costs more to get a new customer than it does for the first purchase. And then once you have a customer and you don't have to pay for them again, you've got them in your system and you can talk to them and have the conversation that says, okay, we see you bought this. Is there something else on our list that you would want to buy? It goes really well with this. Here's a new product we have coming out. Here's something that's new. So it's really about the talking to the customer, the retention piece of it. And I love that as a brand. I love to be talked to. It's not too much for me, and you can always determine which customers are responding to you in a certain way, and who wants an email at 30 days, or which customers are responding at 45 days, and which customer wants a note every 2 weeks. You can see that from their behavior. And in the tool that we're building, you can see it. You can see it in live, like daily live feed. So that's something we're doing. And it's just really interesting because you get 9 to 11 times more customer lifetime value by doing that than trying to build new customers every time. So instead of replacing the customers that are leaving, and 70% of customers leave after the first purchase because you've not talked to them. They're like, great, okay, I tried it, I didn't like it, and I'm out. Or you
Yeah.
can continue to say, did you like it? And if you didn't, how can we fix that? It's just a customer service conversation, but the way we've been able to do it is, through agentic AI, so you don't have to manually do that. Because if you're doing manually, it's,
It's exhausting.
90, it's exhausting. You just can't continue at that rate. And that's the man hours it takes to do that is it's too much expense and it's too much time. So now that we built this agentic AI tool, we can do it. What took 90, man hours takes 90 seconds, and you can
So
see it in a
incredible.
day. So it's incredible. It's going to change everything. Honestly,
I
it's
love that.
it's a whole new world, and I know there's a lot of hesitation going into AI. There's a lot of conversation around it. Reese Witherspoon just went viral with saying, women need to get into AI and understand what's happening because the world is moving that way. So we just need as women to be like, yeah, this is going to help me. This is going to help my business. This is going to help my life on a daily basis. How can I lean into this instead of being scared of it and learn how to do it?
Yep, I agree 100%. And my husband works in tech and deals with AI a lot and trains customers on AI. So I've been infiltrated a lot by him and his
Yes.
conversations, where it's still like I feel like I'm still basic and I know a lot more than a lot of people. And yet there's so much more. There's so many capabilities with it. But this, having run an ecom business and knowing how important that customer service piece is incredible and so exciting because that I've even noticed certain brands using AI tools to reply. And just
Mhm.
having that instead of having to wait 3 days to get a response on something, an error, a broken product, whatever it is, already, yes, they'll see that it's AI. It's fine. At least they're hearing from you, like you're saying. And Beekman, circling back for a moment on their marketing as well, have incredible, you said for the holidays, they have great gifts around the holidays. And that is a piece that I think translates to the customer so well because when you love it, you then know that you can get other people to love it because it's already packaged. You don't have to think about it and turn it into something. And that creates a whole ecosystem of how that customer stays in there, which is really cool.
Exactly. And I think that's the other piece of it, right? So, where you're talking about brands spending so much money on top of funnel to get new customers, you have a huge customer base. If they like your product, they're going to share it with their friends. It's free. That's free. That's free advertising. You don't have to pay for that meta ad. You just let them know that, we've got these gifts to give out. I mean, I spent so much money with Beekman because I was like, well, I need the advent calendar and my sister needs the advent calendar because I mean, it is a big purchase, but I'm like, we need this. I'm investing in us.
And small brands can do it. It doesn't have to be so prepared and extravagant. You can create little brand. This leads me to as well, they do
Bundle. Yes.
collaboration well. And collaborating with other small brands along your level will bring you new customers that already are aligned because you're picking a brand that's aligned with yours. And then that means making little packages for the holidays or whatever's coming up so much easier and does the same thing. So that's another fun piece.
And not only that, there's a trend right now, which I think is wonderful, in taking a brand, let's say a beauty brand or a wellness brand, and partnering with a coffee brand or
Oh,
somewhere that
yeah.
like you do. Like I need eye cream and I like Starbucks and I like Pete's or whatever it is that you like. Partnering with something or Soul Cycle or any brand in your category of customers that align, and if your values align, you align with a brand that's in a very different category, but you can tap into their customer base as well, and also really great opportunities for cross marketing. And I think those kind of alignments are quite impressive, especially in the wellness category. We're seeing a lot of wellness crossover with beauty and wellness, with foods and wellness, with drinks and wellness. Poppy is doing a lot of that too. There's some really great brands out there doing some cool alignments and things you unexpected, like ice cream and eye care. Just random things, but the target market is the same. And if there's an opportunity and it feels aligned with your brand and your ethos, absolutely. What a great opportunity.
Yeah, and one of our best, obviously being an olive oil balm back then, was a local olive oil company.
Yeah.
So they did tastings and all that stuff, and our products flew off the shelf every month, which I didn't really expect, but it was impressive to see that that overlap was so powerful because it's already aligned with what people are in there for. So yeah, it's
I know which company you're talking about, and I love them too. But similarly, not even in beauty, Tecovas is a local brand here in Austin that's kind of taking over the world. They've done recently a Formula One collaboration, which is really cool.
no way.
And they've just done, a movie. They've done a short film movie with a couple of people who were in Yellowstone. So really that cowboy ethos. And they're
Mhm.
just creating this really incredible community and not being sellers of the brand, but more just ambassadors of the brand and of the ethos behind it. And that also builds the community. So everyone's watching the movie going, oh, wait, those guys were in Yellowstone. And oh, wait, they're wearing those boots. And okay, and now Elle Langley, sorry, did a commercial and she's wearing Tecovas boots and it's, a whole thing. So there is that mindset of it doesn't have to just be your brand. It doesn't have to be just advertising of your brand. You create the community and create the following through collaborations and just creating that authenticity for what you are trying to sell, but creating that sort of storyline, which I think is phenomenal. So I think Tecovas is a really good example of a non-beauty brand doing really amazing things. And then Beekman partnered with Hershey, partnered with a couple small brands,
Yeah.
including like a toy manufacturer to make little, goats, which was super cute for the
Yeah.
holidays. So, all those things really lead into your brand ethos and expand your community in ways that Meta ads and TikTok can't do.
And I think that's also speaking to the having fun with
Yes.
I think it's like social media in the aspect of playing it safe. Don't do things that are outside the box because you might get judged. It's like at the end of the day, if you're not playing with it, like Takova's created a lifestyle, like with having fun with their brand and how can we fit it into these things and create an experience. So, I guess my question would be for small businesses, when you're in the weeds of running everything and thinking creatively kind of goes out the window, what would be a good starting point or reference for these brands to get back to alignment with finding a creative outlet like this for their marketing?
Well, I think it's, we all get so hyper focused on the bottom line, the P&L, like the production, the whatever, whatever. And sometimes you just have to take a step back. Just literally take 10 steps back, take a break, take a breather, take a weekend off. I know it's hard for founders to do that, especially startups. It's hard to do that, but you got to take a step back and say, what are my values? What am I aligned with? And what makes sense to me? And then to your point, Steph, what's fun? What do I like? What's fun for me? What makes this brand? What's the heart of this brand? Because at the end of the day, you're buying something as a consumer that makes you feel good, especially in the beauty industry, something that makes you feel good. Clothing, what you feel on your body or like makes you look and feel good. So how do you articulate that to the consumer? So is that you take a step back and say, okay, we're going to have a little party, or we're going to celebrate this, or we're just going to make fun of ourselves in this way, whatever your sense of fun or sense of humor is, it's really important to keep that as a core value. So, one of the things that I advise brands on is, what are your core values? What are your sort of four philosophies? Are you a happy brand? Are you a serious brand? Are you, what is your, sensibility? Are you a warm brand? Like, do you like like wool, and like what is your actual texture feel. And those things can also just help you with alignment on what your PR events look like or what your outreach events look like, what's still in your brand, so that you're not just throwing spaghetti on a wall. You really have a focus of, okay, what makes me happy as a founder? What from my brand I know aligns with my community? What, opportunities I have with, as we talked about, but also just what's fun and what resonates, what kind of texture piece and we're going to offer for the holidays, or what, if that's something in your, wheelhouse, or just really taking a step back and saying, what actually aligns with my brand? Are we a jovial, happy brand? Are we a focused brand and like scientific stuff? And all that, it doesn't matter what it is. If that's your core, that's your core, and you follow that. And that helps you, align with what's gonna resonate with my consumer. And especially if you are a beauty brand that deals with specific skin issues, psoriasis, or sensitive eyes, or whatever that is, what aligns with that, and then look at that from an angle that is, why am I in this, and what makes me joyful, and what would make my clients joyful. So I think that's something you can do as well. I mean, I love that you went to the olive oil company and partnered with them. Absolutely. Your customers are of a certain level that they appreciate olive oil. They appreciate gourmet. They appreciate that. So when you're looking at your consumers, what do they appreciate? What would they like? And that's how you can move it forward in that conversation.
I love that. That's also, that can be one of these things, because I was going to ask you, what really practical steps could someone that's listening to this implement right now to increase customer loyalty? And I guess starting with this, is there a step that you think, aside from writing this out, that's what comes to my mind, like writing, because you're kind of uncovering something that you set aside, like we do our whys. And
Mm-hmm.
that is so crucial to all of this too. But aside from writing it down, is there something else that you'd recommend that a founder could do to increase customer loyalty in this direction? Would it be speaking to your customers, putting a
Exactly what I was
poll
going to
out
speak to your
there?
customers. Be the voice, be your voice online. So if you're doing Instagram posts, if your brand is saying talk about your brand, do, videos that show how you use the product on you and why you think it's so special. Every brand comes out after you get to a certain level, they come out every year with something new. There's something like, why? What is the why behind that? Why are you coming out with a new eye cream? What makes it different? And not just through an ad, not just through a meme or a video or any, AI creation. The founder on camera speaks so much louder than anything else you can do. So if you get your founder, if you're on the marketing team, or if you are a founder yourself, if you can get on screen and just say what it is about that product that makes it so special, I mean, that's gold. That's gold dust right there. And that's how you're going to build your community, when you talk straight to your consumer, when you not only talk straight to them on, social media, but in, as I said, through emails, through, if you have SMS, as part of your CRM process, hints and tips and education and the whys and the hows, and, insight into your life, like, what brought you here, what's your story, because people want to connect with, what they're buying. They want to know, what is it that made you make this product, and why is it so special, and also what's the story behind how you got there. Because, so many women, especially, childbearing women or women with kids, and so many things going on in their lives, they don't want to just be talked down to from a corporation. They want to connect with whoever's ever making the products that they're buying, because that's how you build your community. That's how you talk to them. That's how you create authenticity and loyalty, and just people wanting to come back to say, well, I didn't love that particular lip balm, but I know that, the blush is going to be so much better because it has all this in it, and they're going to fix the lip balm by the time it comes back. Keeping customers through challenges is also a really important piece of your community and your loyalty, because brands are going to make mistakes. Things are going to happen to a package or a formulation, and it's like not going to be great. Not everyone, but every so often it's going to happen. So how do you keep those customers who have, purchased your brand and keep them loyal even through the tough times. And that's when you really appreciate the community you've built, because people understand we all make mistakes, and owning up to that and saying, oh, it wasn't the best one, but I've got something cool and I hope you'll stay with me. And, and being super authentic is so important.
I love that. That is great tips. So, a little personal touch. What is your all-time favorite beauty product?
I knew you were going to ask me, so I brought two. Okay, I mentioned Beekman. I've got to tell you, this is the best thing. It is called the Milk RX Advanced Better Aging Wrinkle Serum. It is
Okay.
my favorite. I use it every day. It is a vitamin C and a hydrator, and I don't know all the inside and outs of it. This is the one that two influencers mentioned. I purchased it. I am now subscribed. That's how much I like
Okay.
it. I'm subscribed. I use it every day. I'm like, yes, please. When is that arriving? And this one I can feel is light, so I should be getting one any minute to replace it. But I love it so much that I'm sad because I don't have a travel size of it. So I can't take it with me wherever I go, but they're gonna make a travel size, I'm sure, after they see this. I love it so much. So that's number one. And then the other one is, I'll take it out of the packaging. This Osei Malibu. I don't know if you have seen this one, but this is also my favorite. It is the body oil.
The Unari.
So yes, exactly. It is so great. I love it. Undaria algae body oil. Love it, love it, love it. So I use this one every time I shower. This is my after shower, and this is my every morning. Absolutely.
So amazing.
So those are my two. You told me to choose one. Can't choose one. I can choose two.
Hey,
one's for face.
I'm happy with those too. We'll link those in the show notes too, just for the fun of it. Well, thank you. This has been a really valuable conversation, and I'm sure most founders, I was like all founders, I'm like, I'm not going to assume, are going to get something from this, because I think, having been there, it's something that on a day-to-day becomes a struggle to think of yourself, and having a couple actionable items it always comes back to the foundation from what I've experienced, and even this conversation. Like, we've got to go back to why we do the things we do. And I love one of the touch points that you said was to know the why on the products. And I think communicating that makes releasing new products so much more powerful, instead of it being like, well, I just want people to buy more stuff, so I'm just going to make more stuff.
Yeah.
So it's sustainable, it's intentional, and it's an easy way to grow when you're speaking to your customers. So thank you for being here and taking the time.
I'm so happy to be here.
And I'm so excited for everyone to hear this episode and make the most of it. I'll see you on the next episode of She Impacts Digital, and follow, share, subscribe, do all those things if you want, and stay tuned for more.
Thank you so much.